Okay, so this is the Janome Cover Pro 1000 CPX. I'm going to show you how to thread it, explain about this cover hem guide, and let's get started. So threading, you want to make sure your foot is up, obviously. We want to always have our foot up when we're threading. And we have here our 3 needles, the left, the center, and the right, and then this one over here is going to be for the looper. When we look at the machine, we're going to see that I have 2 needles in. I have my center and my right. And on the foot, we have tick marks that you can check out and see that we have it for the left, the center, and the right. When we open up the machine, these are the stitches that it does in all of these combinations, whether I'm using all 3 needles, the left and the center and the right, the far left, far right, and these here would be for just doing our chain stitching, which is just 1 needle and the looper. The green one is representing the looper, and the looper is down here. On a cover hem machine, there are no knives, so nothing is cutting. So we're going to go ahead and thread this, and I'm going to start with the looper here. The foot has been raised, and I've taken my tension to 0. Okay? We're going to come back, and you're always going to remember to thread so that we're going to go from the back to front on these. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and we're going back to front, okay, from the back to the front, and then I'm going to loop it through here. You don't need to do this, but it's nice so that if it doesn't come out. Then we're going to again take that little thread tail and bring it through, okay, and now I'm coming down, and when you look at this, you'll notice there's 2 holes on all of these. When you're looking at that and say, well, which one is it I'm supposed to thread? You're always going to go into the left hole. Remember, the final part of the threading will be so it goes into this guide. Again, we're going to go back to front. So I'm going to come in from the back to the front, and I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to again come around and go back to front. See if you can see that. Sorry. And now that thread is going to be right into this guide, which I've set at 0, and I'm going to bring it straight down. We have a thread guide here that is just going to snap into place, so if you want to hold the thread tail up at the top and just push back, you'll hear a click. And now we're going to go, and this is the threading procedure. You'll see that there's these 3 different little arms. We're going to use the hand wheel turning it towards me so that I can align those so everything will be perfectly lined up so we can bring that thread right through. If you're having a hard time, you could use a dental flosser and bring your thread through the dental flosser, which helps make threading very easy. And that way we get all the threads through all 3 guides. At this time, we're ready to thread the looper. And down here, you're going to notice there's a little gray knob. If we push that gray knob, or pull the gray knob towards you, it brings that looper out so it's easier threading. And then we're going to go ahead and thread our looper. There's a hole right back here, and again, if you wanted to use the dental flosser, you could. I'm going to use it for filming so that you can see exactly where we're going. I'm going to bring that right through this hole. You can see that blue nylon dental threader coming in. It's bringing the thread with it, and that way I can now thread my looper easily. We're going to go this time from the front of the looper to the back. Okay, and now that looper is threaded. I'm going to just let it hang there, and I'm going to push that looper back over to the left, and we're ready to thread our needles. That makes it nice and easy, but before we thread our needles, the foot that came with the machine is right here, and it has a lever in the back that if you push it towards you, will drop the foot off. I'm going to go ahead and put on a clear foot, which makes it a lot easier for seeing since what I'm doing is a cover hem. So I'm going to drop that, remove my foot, and you'll notice there's a bar right on here and like a little tunnel. We're going to put that to attach very easily. Line up that bar, and you can bring that foot right down. You can either press the button in the back again to snap it on, or if you're bringing it in and you're not snapping, making sure that cloth, you can push forward in and it'll pull it. I'm going to raise the presser foot because we're going to do some threading. So we're going to come up. I'm going to thread my right needle. Again, we're going to go from the back to the front, and I'm going to wrap this around the front and bringing my thread tail through the back. Okay. So we're coming into this needle here, which is my far right needle. I'm going to bring my tension to 0. Again, I'm going to start over here on the left, okay? Bringing it from the back to the front. I'm going to come back, bring my thread straight back, and come over here, again back to front, so that that thread, when it's coming into the guide, is going to be straight. Bring this down, and there's arrows on here that you can see. We're going to come underneath this guide, 2, 3, all the way over, and then following the arrows up and over to here. They gave you a needle threader with it, so I will show you how that works. We do have these marks in here, or these guides that are right in this area, so we want to be able to make sure that our thread is going to be in conjunction with the needle that we're threading. And here we're going to come around this guide. It'll be behind this bar. And I'm going to take it and bring it in so it comes right behind this guy into that mark right there. And then we'll come behind this guide. Okay, oops. There we go. Now this needle threader that they give you, if you have eyes that can see well, you could probably thread it. But this one has a mark that's a little triangle on it, and you'll see that when I push on it, it has a little metal piece that comes out. You're going to bring the thread straight across from right to left. So that when you're bringing it in, that little arrow should be facing up. Okay, so it's coming in, and then I'm going to take this little needle threader and run it gently down the needle. And then you'll feel as you're inserting that you can see the thread has gone through. It makes a little loop, and you can take your little hook on the end, grab that, and pull through. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and thread the other needles the same way. Okay, so we threaded the other needle. It was done the same way. I'm going to make sure that my tensions are going back to where they're supposed to be. There's a little number that has the recommended, suggested tension with the little boxes around it. On this part here, it's going to show you if you're doing lighter material or heavier material, and they're giving you the indication of where this tension dial should be according to your fabric. They also have it so that you can tighten up that if you need to. On the side of the machine, we're going to see that we have our stitch length right here. Mine is set at about a 3.5. And down here is our differential feed, and I have it set at 1. What differential feed is that we have 2 sets of feed dogs. If you look at the cover hem machine, you have 2 sets of feed dogs. Right now, they're both going to be working in unison at the same speed. When I adjust the differential feed, making it a higher number to 2, the front feed dog will feed twice as fast as the back is letting out. We're going to leave this on normal right now, and I'm going to explain what I put on here, which was a cover hem guide. The cover hem guide is an added-on accessory. It's really, really cool to work with. I love it. So what they have on here is you put this on so that you can go ahead and put your fabric, and knowing exactly you have something to butt up against for the hem. This part here is going to go inside of here when I turn this over, but before I do that, I like to turn it this way so I can get an idea where I'm going to be putting it. I marked a 1-inch hem. I can use a seam gauge if I wanted to go ahead and look from where the needle was to move this over. These can be adjusted and moved, okay, right to left. Or you can just align your fabric and see where you want to butt that up against there, okay, and then tighten it down. This piece here also slides. It's really to keep everything nice and smooth when we're working with that. The nice thing about the CPX 1000 Janome is that we have a free arm, and I could pull that piece off so I can go ahead and bring this right into where I want to get started if you need to, like for small sleeves or pant legs or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I like to start before the seam because if I run into any troubles, I know that I can just pull it out real quick. I'm going to go ahead and lower my feed dog, and this little piece in here is going to go inside of the hem. So I'm going to go ahead and just push that over. Now, being that it's holding that hem nice and flat, when we come back around in a circle, we're going to have to remember to release it, and there is a release lever right here. You would just push it in. So we go ahead, we'll start sewing. I'm getting back around now to where we started. And you can see that I'm going to stop because what I want to do is trim these threads that are up at the top from our needle. So I'm going to just cut them. All right. I have the marks on the foot, so I can actually, with the clear foot, it's really easy to see and line up for the stitches that we have there. We're going to go over just a little bit. Now, it's not moving because guess what? We need to remember to release this. So I'm going to push this button in. You can hear it's released, and we're going to go ahead and go right over this previous stitching. Okay, now I'll go about a little bit. I'm going to make sure my needles are in the high position. I'm going to raise the presser foot, and I'm going to grab the two threads. I'm going to come underneath the presser foot, which is raised, grab my threads, and bring them out. Okay, I'm going to drop them, grab it, and pull straight back on these, which will release everything. You can go ahead, you have a side cutter here. I like to leave that a little bit longer. And what we're going to do is we can take the threads from here and they'll just pull right down underneath. And then you can just knot those off in the back. All right, so that's how this works with that cover hem guide on there. Put my free arm piece right back, snap it into place, and you're ready to get going with your next project. Anyway, you have an amazing day. Thank you.